Hey everybody, welcome back to You Monstar Gaming. Sorry it's been such a long time since I updated the Dominations videos, but I'm back. Uh, this is one of my, easily one of my favorite games, and I've been playing almost 3 years off and on. Um, it's just a fantastic game, but it takes a little bit of time commitment, takes a little bit of patience commitment, things like that, because you can't just build stuff overnight. You gotta, really take your time. So today I wanted to talk about a few basic tips for new players um, that are, either trying out the game or are in the first 3 or 4 ages. Um, and hopefully they help you out. So currently I'm in the atomic age, and it took me a while to get here, of course. Um, but I think one thing that I've learned, and this is later in the game, I guess, but one big thing that I learned is really take your time. Take your time and really enjoy every age, every era, and work on maximizing all your offense and defensive troops and buildings, things like that. Work on your technologies, and then work on your walls, and then even expanding your territory. Everything is going to cost resources, and it's going to take time for sure. Um, but take your time. Fight as much as you want. Try to dominate as many other cities as possible, and make that money. Um, and really take your time. I think when I played it that first year, I was really busy upgrading, really busy, trying to get my troops leveled up. And then every now and again, there are certain events that give you a reduced cost or reduced time to level things up or to go to the next age. They give you a little bit of a break. And those things are all great. But definitely, definitely pace yourself. I've probably been in Atomic now for about maybe 5, 6 months, if not longer. But I was playing a little bit off and on, and most of my defense and offensive building skills, everything, are not even in global age or barely in global age. So I'm kind of at that point where I need to go back and upgrade everything because I'm getting demolished in a lot of the battles. And even when I'm trying to attack other people, like my troops are just not strong enough. And it was basically because I rushed. I wanted to get the new stuff. I wanted to go to the new era, a new age, and see a bunch of new things. But now I'm kind of like, ugh. And I think that's one of the reasons why I did stop playing for a little while was I realized how far behind I was, even though my level says I'm 171. Given the time that I've spent in the game, I should definitely be closer to like 185, and I should definitely have a lot more of the buildings accomplished. I can even show you the store. I still have like that to build there, that. All this stuff costs a lot of resources. So that's my first tip: is take your time. And the first 3 eras, like once you get to Iron Age, I mean, you can speed those ones up because there's not a lot of things to really max out at that point, and you can easily catch up once you pick your nation. So at the beginning, maybe don't worry about that so much because it is going to be a little boring at the beginning because you don't have much to do. You're probably hunting these little animals. You're getting your first trees. You have one barracks. You're getting your second one. You might have a couple towers, a couple farms, a mill. You're starting to see your first wonder, and that costs a lot of resources. Soon after that, you're building your mercenary camp. So all this stuff takes a long time for sure, and mostly it just takes a lot of resources. Um, so I guess I won't talk about that too much more. But basically, at the beginning of the game, and throughout most of the game, I would say, up through mid game and early late game, gold or the coins are the hardest things to come by. They don't nearly uh, produce or are gatherable, if you want to say it that way, as much as food. Food, you'll find a surplus. You'll find more people are hoarding a lot of food versus gold. So even when you pillage somebody else, you're not going to get as much. But at the beginning, the very beginning of the game, like the first few ages, you really need to try to maximize, get as much gold as possible. Gold is going to help your defenses. It's going to help upgrade your pretty much any kind of building you can think of. Your walls, yeah, pretty much all your upgrades, and a lot of your library later on. A lot of your library, a lot of your university. It's all going to take gold. Food is going to be more for your troops, like when you're training them. Let's see, what else will your food do? Oh, in your library, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to require food. Um, your university, there's going to be a lot of stuff there that requires food. Let's see if you want to expand. Nope, that's going to be gold as well. So you can see that even at the beginning of the game, you're going to have to collect a lot of gold and make sure you hold on to it. So those are the things you want to protect really, really all early on in the game. Definitely build all those roads like they tell you at the beginning, and make sure that they are connected to your town, uh, your city center, because that will increase your. I believe it increases the hit points on your city center, but it also will increase the amount that's getting. Oops, that your caravans are going to be carrying around. I like to call them like tax collectors, kind of, because they kind of go around and collect your taxes for you from all your people. Um, so gold at the beginning, that should be your main focus is gold. You will get food pretty easily once you get trees and once you hunt enough and start getting your farms. Your farms you can level up, but it's not as crucial at the beginning of the game. Another thing to think about relatively early in the game is as soon as you get the library, start doing stuff there. So let me see if I can even find it because I just moved everything around in here. So that's my archive, so we're not going to worry about that today. There it is. So your library, it says your wise men can research new inventions and technologies here. It has hit points, and that's pretty much it. But when you click research, it takes you into the library, and there's a bunch of books, and each one has its own focus. So at the beginning of the game, you'll see pottery. So I'm going to click the little thing here. And these are all the things you can do. +2 fruit tree limit, +2 fruit tree limit, plus 10% chance of finding cider and metal. So they're going to give you different technologies and things like that, which is really, really nice. Reinforcements, let's see what that one does. Hidden defenders come from the forest. Awesome. Plus 10% defender attack. So these are going to be technologies that are going to help you 100% in pretty much every different aspect of the game. They are actually color coded now that I'm looking at it. Looks like the defensive things are going to be in blue. Your offensive stuff are in red, and your economy and things like that are going to be in that brownish. And as you complete them, it will let you work on the next level as long as the library has already been updated. So that's level 2, level 3. I haven't finished that one yet because I didn't have any decoys. So I was like, what's the point? But eventually you want to complete everything. It will help, of course. Um, and things like this. It's nice. It's good to be a completionist and try to get it all taken care of. So there's a lot of stuff in here. I have not unlocked everything. I have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's a lot more levels to go. In those major updates that they do a couple times a year, sometimes they do add. So I think the last time I looked in here, a few months ago, like 6 months ago or so, there were only 12 levels. So they added 2 more. And I know they added another age recently as well. So it's exciting. This is a game that you can keep playing for a long, long, long time, because it does take a long time to move up. It does take a long time to research everything and do everything in the game. Um, and they're still adding content, which is amazing. So you could be playing this game 3 years like I am, or more, and they're still adding more to it. And there's no reason to rush. You know, you can stay in the global age for a really long time if you want, and really master everything, master your troops, perfect your city formation, your defensive formation, get involved in world wars, and there's so much stuff in this game, which is really nice. Um, so I think I already mentioned the roads. So that's a tip that I would definitely upgrade your roads. I don't think it's your priority. It is going to bring you a lot more income, but it's also going to bring you a ton of experience points, because each little piece of road is a little piece of road. So if you there is a thing here where it just says upgrade, and that will that's a lot of money. Um, I believe when you do that one, it upgrades the whole road, not just the little piece you're on. But it does, when you benefit from the road and these little characters pick stuff up, they all pick up a little bit of the taxes individually. But the road itself is going to produce amount of gold for you as well. So I know a lot of people at the beginning don't really care about the road, and they wait till later and they say, oh, it's so much easier to get gold and stuff like that, battling and doing other things. But it's to me, it's an important piece of it. It is going to give you a ton of XP as you level up your roads. Um, it'll produce a lot more gold for you for sure, and I think it looks nicer too. So don't underestimate the roads. The other tip that I have is definitely with your walls. It seems like it'd be obvious that you want to upgrade your walls. You want to make it harder for the enemies to penetrate your base. But it's one of the things that's so easily forgotten. You level it up here and there. It does get very expensive, because this you're upgrading one piece at a time. You can select more and do clusters, but I mean that's a level 7. I go up to a level 8. It's 423,000 gold. So it's like ouch. That's why I said this game is going to take a while. But the walls are very important. They do a very good job of keeping your enemies out. I know there's other games out there, Clash of Clans, some other games out there where the walls are not as important. In this game, they are very important. They have wall miners and units like that are specifically, out there to break down walls, because they're that much of a challenge. Um, and also, your layout. My layout's not the best. It's something that I definitely want to work on, but that's fine. Um, but it's something that you really want to pay attention to as soon as you start taking on some pretty serious cities. It's probably like gunpowder, somewhere around there. Gunpowder age is when you really want to, or enlightenment, somewhere in there, where you really do want to start focusing on your walls. Very, very, very important. Don't remember which age it is when they give you this, which gives you the layout editor. I don't think it's too much past the Iron Age, but then you can build a variation of your town and figure out which one you like the best, which I think is really nice, because then we can easily, change out your composition as many times as you want, save them, and then you can kind of go back to them. You'll see on the right side there's a war base where you can edit it that way as well. If you go to war a lot, you want to have a different layouts, because there's different importances there. So the walls, very, very, very important. Um, the other thing, the only other tip that I can think of is if you're starting out the game, I think I mentioned it in the last video, is pick your nation by your playstyle. They are very different. They have updated them in the last couple years. So when you are picking your nation, really take your time and look at these things. What sets them apart? Watch videos. Watch my other video that I posted. Watch other videos by the Game Hunter, some of the other guys. Everybody has some really good opinions about these, but at the end of the day, it's gotta be something that's going to benefit you in the way that you play. Because it's so expensive, once you pick your nation, the first time I believe it's 600 crowns if you ever want to change it to a different. And I've changed mine, I think, at least 3 times. um, it's 1,000, and you also need all your workers to be available. So that's the struggle I'm having now because I am thinking of changing, but I only have one worker available. So do you stop, upgrading and producing your stuff to do this, or do I do it later? And I'm probably going to do it later. I think it's one of the last things that I need to prioritize right now. I really need to improve all aspects of my city before I think of changing uh, nations. But that's whatever, but don't take that decision lightly. Watch videos, read reviews on the different nations, and really try to pick like a decent one at the beginning of the game. Like I said, gold is really hard to come by, so something like Romans that give you extra army size, or the British that give you extra loot, and they have an archer that shoots for more distance, is very deadly at the beginning of the game. A little bit later in the game, when you have a lot more tanks, you have larger army sizes, that's when you probably want to start looking at, what am I going to say, the Germans and the Greeks and the French, um, just from their various skills. The Koreans are one of the ones that came into the game a little bit later on, but they're very powerful, with extra tactic, and their shooting. Uh, the Hwarang, they're very good too. So just um, just pick a nation that you think you would enjoy if you like shooting. Maybe pick a nation that has a very strong shooting division. If you prefer tanks, maybe use something like that. Um, I think all the nations are good, but I would say at the beginning of the game, you want to get something that will let you overwhelm the opponent. I think you'll do really well at the beginning of the game if you get some sort of added benefit that will let you overwhelm the enemy. Once you get into higher levels, you're not going to overwhelm anybody. That's where the strategy really kicks in, and that's where you really need to pick a good nation, that's going to help you with your strategy. Um, the other tip is, obviously there are wonders, and many of the ages will allow you to add wonders, and they're huge. They have to be built in sections because they're that big, so they're going to take a very long time to build. So don't take those decisions lightly either. You will be able to replace them for only 600 crowns, and you need 4 workers, but they change instantly. So there's no waiting period, which is amazing. And these, many players change them up. Some of them are really going to benefit you at the beginning of the game, where you're trying to make more income, or you're trying to be more attack heavy, or something. They give you some sort of bonus, and later in the game, your gameplay might shift. So definitely expect that. Expect that you're not going to be playing the game the same way at the beginning of the game as in mid game and late game. Um, a lot of it has to do with just the evolution of your city. You start with barracks with uh, a little stick guy and a guy that slings rocks, and eventually you're going to have a militia dude, a little rifle type of guy, a motorcycle dude. You get a tank or a cavalier type stuff. The engineer to break walls. You get a howitzer. You get a supply truck. You get a mortar. Later, you're going to get helicopters. So every couple ages, are really going to change the way that you play and the way that you think about the game and the way that people are going to attack you, and you need to think about how to defend. This is one of the things that came out about a year and a half ago, which is a missile silo on defense. It's amazing. Launches a rocket in a huge radius of where you are, and just deals some good damage. So that changed the game when the missile silo came out. Then you have the airstrip, which this one doesn't have anything in there right now. So actually, I'll probably work on those. You get the little triplane, then you get the zeppelin, then you get the transport. Once you get the planes, that completely changes the game again, because now you have to worry about what do you call it, air missiles, ground to air missiles and things like that, and the towers hitting you. Um, the game gets a little bit more complex as you go, for sure, but it only adds to the strategy and your planning and what kind of attacker and what kind of, general or whatever you want to call it, you want to be. So that my biggest tip is, this is not a game to rush. Do not rush it. Play at your own pace. Have clear goals of what you want to do. If you're like, hey, you know what, my army stinks, I need to upgrade all my troops, then focus on that. Focus all your money on that. Focus, you know, when you're battling people, maybe don't go for stars. Maybe just try to get as much loot as possible. Um, you really can play however you want to play, of course, but don't burn yourself out by playing too quickly, getting to that next age, and realizing you're the weakest base in that age because you haven't upgraded anything. So take your time, and you can, obviously you can play this as intense as you want. There are a lot of groups, um, alliances, sorry, that play extremely seriously, and they go and attack and try to get perfect scores all the time and this and that. Like, play however you want. Play casually, play intense, play like cutthroat, develop all your stuff. There's just so much to the game. I mean, I haven't even showed you the university, but that comes in, I think, right before Global Age. That pops up. And you can research from all these leaders. And you can help almost every aspect of your world. You know, military, defense, economy, productivity, shortening time of upgrades, lowering the cost of things, expanding. So there's just so much to do. Don't get overwhelmed. Have a clear goal of what you want to do, and then just focus on those things, and then enjoy it. Have fun with it. One last small tip. The reason the library is so awesome is that it only costs what it costs. Versus, you do any one of these, you need workers. So the university will impact your game. Overall, it will impact it more. It's a more specific improvements that you'll find, um, but it will cost you workers. Versus in the library, it doesn't cost you any workers. So research, research, research. Take your time, take it slow. Research, research, research. So please put any comments underneath about the video, any tips that you might have for new players, anything that maybe you didn't do right, or something that you found that you did amazing as you were playing the game. And definitely just give me any feedback on any other topics that you'd want to hear about, because I can go into more depth or more detail on different kind of buildings, or maybe attack for army composition, or which buildings are better for this or that, which wonders are going to be more helpful for this or that. Anything you can think of, just leave some comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please click that. And going forward, I'm going to try to do videos every 2 weeks if I can. I will do it more often than that, but expect videos on Dominations to come out at least every 2 weeks. Of course, if nobody's watching these videos and nobody cares, I might not do that. But for now, that is my plan. Thanks for watching.